I'm doing the Sidewalk to Sailboat Bridge challenge, and I'm sharing my journey with you on this live stream. What do runners do? I want to show you where I am right now. I am walking to my running site, and I typically like to walk to my running site. I'll tell you more about that. And what I am planning to do is I want to go to the beginning of the sidewalk by the Dollar General, and then I intend to do a live stream where I will run all the way in this live stream to the end of Sailboat Bridge. So I think I'm estimating that that's probably around 7 kilometers, and a kilometer is around 1.60. A mile is around 1.60 or so kilometers. So we'll see how long that is. I typically start right by the Regal car, which is really close to the Turtle Stop, and I'm about to pass that. You can see that Regal car is right over here. I'm sorry that the lights don't look the best, but that's how it is. The Regal car is right there. Turtle Stop is right there. But I'm going to keep on walking a little bit more, and I can tell you different things. I would like to talk about running, so I'll tell you some things that I'm wearing right here. I have on the Knox Gear lighting kit. I really like that, and this I can change this into different colors. And I'll just show you. I can click the back of my the back of this equipment. You can't really see how it looks in the back, but I have like a 360 area of me is like covered in lights, and which I like with the Knox Gear lighting kit. So I'll just change this. This can go into different colors. It can light up. It's USB powered, and I didn't really think I was going to have to use this while I was going out today, but I thought it was already going to be lighter. But typically I'm not out here at like so early, but I know I want to do this run, and I have some other things I want to do. I have like a Zoom meeting at 6:30 that I want to do as well. So I have a lot of things I want to do. So I wanted to come out earlier. And the Knox Gear lighting kit, at the very least, is water resistant, and then what I like to is by the way, I'm just passing Regal car, walking there. I like the fact that I have this, you can see that light right there, that's a tracer lamp, and that can actually get pretty bright. So I don't necessarily need that right now, because you see the lights right here. I am very thankful for those lights and all of that, and it is nice to have this whole area has those lights. And so all the way on the sidewalk, basically, I will have lights, but at the same time, especially when I'm away from the lights, it's nice to have this tracer lamp. And it is good to have on things like this, especially when I'm crossing the road right now, and I am allowing myself to have more visibility. I was wondering one time if I should get the Knox Gear lighting kit, and then I was thinking I had thought I was going to get it for a while, for several months, but there was a time when it was foggy, and I was like, why am I not wearing this? It's foggy outside, and I probably should have something like this, even though I'm on the sidewalk. And yes, I make sure that, many times, especially if it was foggy. Now, I don't do this all the time, but especially when it was foggy and I didn't have on the Knox Gear lighting kit, I would want to make sure that as I'm passing these areas where cars can, go through, that I'm making sure that no car is going to hit me or anything like that. But I think to reduce the chance even more so, it's good to have on a lighting kit, especially in the morning time, because I don't think there probably are people that don't expect others to be out so early in the morning and running and things like that. So I am willing to to spend the money for this Knox Gear kit. And I think I got this sometime last year. So I've had this for a year, and it's been a really good investment. So that's one thing I have. I can also tell you, I have this shirt. Can't really see it the best, but it says, "What do runners do?" And I like that. I got this from a store. This store is no longer in Grove. At least the physical operation is no longer in Grove, but I was thankful to support a local business. I got this as well as a sweatshirt that says "Runners Run," and that's nice in the wintertime. I wear that, and it reminds me that whether they run inside or outside, runners still run and they sweat in the wintertime. And so I'm thankful to have a custom shirt and custom sweatshirt to encourage me in my running journey. I've worn these things for a long time, and I am getting closer to the Dollar General. Right over there is Tractor Supply. So about to start my run, but right over there is Tractor Supply. Kind of hard to see that, I guess, in the morning time. Right over there is Mill Creek, and I can actually respond to comments and stuff like that as well. So I talked about some of that, like the Knox Gear lining kit, my shirt, and then I also have this. It's my watch. So my watch, I really like this. And I'm thankful my brother actually gave me, this is like his old Garmin watch, but this is a Garmin Venue. And this helps me to know at a glance how far I've walked and all of this. And so far I have walked 0.96 kilometers. And again, a mile is around 1.6 kilometers. So I've already walked a little over half a mile, and so I do walk to my running site. I'll tell you the story of how that started in a little bit, probably as I run. But I do think that walking is important, and the nice thing about walking too is you can do a run-walk philosophy. Where even, let's say today, I'm like, okay, I don't want to, I might need to slow down or something like that. I can walk, and then I can run again. I've done that many times, and I'm not afraid to do that on a live stream. It's okay. Today I have a distance goal. I don't have a speed goal. So however long it takes for me to get from the Dollar General to Sailboat Bridge, that's how long it's going to take me. And doing a live stream. I mean, so it's different than necessarily talking to someone, because when you talk to someone, then you can listen to them, then you don't have to be talking yourself. But I am going to be talking. In one sense, I plan to be talking like the whole live stream. So that means that, I don't have to really run as fast as I don't have to have a speed goal. That's what I'm trying to say. And I like this watch as well, this Garmin, show it to you again, because I can know the increments that I'm going, and I made this so that every 0.5 kilometers, it will give me like a buzz and let me know that I have gone 0.5 kilometers. But I've been on this sidewalk so long, and it's been so regular for me that there are spots where I've run over that. I forgot to look at Strava before this live stream, but I know that some spots have been over 200 times. So that's just what I just have done it so many times that sometimes I know about where the 1 kilometer mark is. I know where the 2.52 kilometer mark is. I know where the 1.3 kilometer mark is. I know around where 5 kilometers are from my starting point and all that. All right, so here we are. Wow, look at that. There's Dollar General right there. And this is the end of the sidewalk. Now there's some sidewalk over there as well. I typically am on this side of the sidewalk. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with my watch is, all right, so I walked 1.19 kilometers, and I'm gonna just stop that. So when I stop that, it gets saved automatically, and then that goes into Strava, so it records my walk. So I typically, when I'm on Strava, typically with my watch, it will import data 3 times to Strava, because I will walk to my running site, and then, so that's one activity. Then I will run, that's another activity. Then I will walk again to my place, and so that's another activity as well. So sometimes if we just look at walking just to and from my running site, it typically is going to be about 3/4 of a mile. So I can keep on talking about stuff, but I also need to run because that's part of what I said I'm going to do. All right, and so I'm going to show you my watch, and so it's 5:03 right now. I'm going to turn this onto the run setting, because I definitely want to track this. This is run number 400, track run since August of 2022, and it's kind of hard to show you things as I'm doing. Okay, so it's just waiting for the GPS, and then it's going to turn green in a second. There we go. So now it says ready. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I'll just show it to you. And so it is tracking that. So my run is being tracked. I am literally starting the Sidewalk to Sailboat Bridge challenge. So some people say things like, I mean, I've seen just a few people talk about there's not a lot of sidewalk in Grove. Well, I'm about to run on a whole lot of sidewalk, in my opinion. And I challenge people to take the Sidewalk to Sailboat Bridge challenge. And that's not something I'm just talking about from a theoretical perspective, but I'm actually doing it. And if I gotta run, if I gotta walk, if I gotta crawl, I intend to get to that challenge today. And I forgot to tell you something. Well, maybe not. This is a question I really want to ask at the beginning of my run. Is this: when you look right now at this sidewalk, what do you see? Now, obviously, I'm running, I'm holding my phone. The camera is not probably the most stable and all of that stuff. But the question is, what do you see? Now, I don't live too far away from here. And many times I would go to work, and I would maybe go to a normal store, and I would come home. And I wouldn't really, even though all of this sidewalk existed, I didn't really see it. And then I decided, I think it was around, I forgot exactly when, I think it was like April. No, it was April. It was like April of 2022. I knew that I needed to exercise. I knew it was important for me to do. And I decided to go ahead and start around that time. And I ended up getting into a more consistent, well, I mean, I actually was exercising before that time, but I mean, started running around April of 2022. And I lost my train of thought. Okay, but before I say something like that, this is about where I typically start my run. My Regal car, I'm in pretty familiar territory. I've already gone 0.5 kilometers. I got that little buzz on my wrist to let me know I've gone 0.5 kilometers. You can see Regal car right there. Okay, so I wanted to run, got into a routine, tried to figure out like how to do it, you know, and all of that. And I decided that I wanted to run like 4 times a week. And that was important also because I'll give myself some rest time and all of that. And then I went ahead and did that. And then what happened one day is my car broke down. I forgot exactly what happened, but something happened with my car. I had been going to the track by the YMCA, and I was thankful for that track, especially when I was starting running, because I could have my water bottle in my car, and anytime I needed to get my water bottle, I could go ahead and get my water bottle and all of that. And it was good for me seeing other people out there walking, some people running, but especially it was helpful for me because I could get my water and all of that. And if I needed to end the run, it was fine. It was not like doing this Sidewalk, the Sailboat Bridge challenge, where my starting point is far away from where I'm going. But anyway, with my car broken down, I was like, what do runners do? They run. So I just decided that I was still gonna run. And I was wondering, what am I gonna do? But then I saw this sidewalk. I didn't really realize it was here. And I started running on the sidewalk, I believe in December. I'm sorry, I don't think it was in December, but it was in 2022. And I just kept on doing that. Even after my car got fixed, I'm like, I could walk to my running site and I could get fresh air and sunshine. I could have more of a warm-up routine, more of a cool-down routine, or I get in my car and it would take me about the same amount of time to go to the track by the YMCA. I believe the track by the YMCA gave me a purpose. I mean, it served a purpose for me, but then I really like this area. By the way, right there is Grove Fireplace and Stoves. Really not too far away from me. And Miami Fireplace and Stoves was my sponsor, and it was earlier this year. It was interesting to see Grove Fireplace and Stoves now in Grove, and I tried some of their dairy-free ice cream, which I thought was I was not expecting that. And I'm not sure if people know that you can even get like fireplaces and stoves and heated furniture and all of that from that company. All right, so I'm just doing a relaxing pace, and that's the nice thing as well in terms of going. You don't always, I mean, I rather, and I probably am doing this a little bit too much, but I'd rather do most of my runs at a relaxing pace, especially going a longer distance like I'm going today. Sometimes I will go short distances, and sometimes I haven't put in the intensity like I'm in terms of doing runs 4 times a week like I did, especially my first year. So if I am a little bit slower, that actually is better because I actually want to complete my objective. I remember when I was trying to run my first half marathon distance, I was on the sidewalk. This, I think, was in 2022, and I was feeling good. The run felt really good and all of that. But then in the middle of my run, there's some pain kind of by my left knee, and eventually I just had to walk back to my place. And so I started doing, I need to do better at this, but I started doing squatting routine that I think has helped. And I had to slowly but surely get back into, going as far as I wanted to go. So, but I eventually did get up to a half marathon distance, and I've done that a few times. Right here is my landmark. This is like the Acts 29 church, or at least, yeah. So I know from Regal Car to that distance, that's 1 kilometer. Sometimes I will just be like, all right, I'm just going to do a short run. And sometimes I've just gone just 2 kilometers. So I might just make it to that distance and then turn around, run another kilometer, and I'm finished. So I'm okay with doing things like that. But I estimate that this run has about another 6 kilometers left in it. Really looking forward to Sailboat Bridge. I really like Strava. I've talked about it, and that's something that I use to be able to see what other people are doing. I have connected with, various cyclists and some runners, some people that walk, and in Grove and other places. Get to see what they do. That's extremely useful, I would say, when it is cold, probably even when it's hot as well. Like today, I asked that question, what do you see when you look at the sidewalk? I think later on today, people might just see the sun, or think about the sun, or the heat, or something like that. I am running right now in the cool of the day. I am not having to run at like the hottest portion of the day. And to me, I'm going to get a pretty substantial run in. So, and literally, I am literally documenting myself on all this amazing sidewalk in Grove, Oklahoma. I feel like the sidewalk is for me. All right. So yeah, Strava is a place where I have seen other people post their runs, and I like to. This is a principle, I think, of life that can be applied to language learning. It can be applied to running. It can be applied to other aspects. You can look at people for inspiration, but you compete against yourself. And so I see how far people to go on on a continual basis, like when they do their runs, what is their pace? You know, I can ask them questions about what do they do for the winter and all of that, because sometimes you can think that maybe no one is running in the summertime, or no one's running when it's 0 degrees outside, or no one's doing this or that, but that's not always the case. And like I like to say, whether they run inside or outside, runners still run. So, and they sweat in the wintertime, and you can do that if you have a treadmill. You do not have to run outside. You can run in AC inside in the summertime. You can run with the heat on if you wanted in the winter. I have chosen to run outside. This is track run number 400 on Strava since August of 2022. Every single run I've done has been outside. All right, so here I am. I can interact. If you have a question or a comment or something like that, especially about running, because I think that should be the thing probably. But this is kind of random, kind of impromptu, and making up stuff somewhat as I'm going. I have, you know, I've seen some pretty serious runners on Strava, like people that will run a half marathon distance regularly. I'm like, that definitely is not me. Especially when I was more seriously running, I was like, the minimum distance I want to do is 5 kilometers, which is 3 miles. I've now adjusted that. I mean, if it's a mile, it's good. But I'm trying to get back to a 7-day goal of 25 kilometers. And so sometimes if I do a short run, then I have to make up for that. And that's okay. Sometimes it's good to do short runs. Sometimes it's good to do long runs. So the short run is good because it can help with consistency. And sometimes, you know, I might only have time I might come to my running site late, and I might not have that much time to do like a 10K, which would be 6.2 miles or something like that. But I might have time to do a mile. So runners run out of excuses. And one thing I've said, and I want to continue to believe, is I want to see my opportunities more than my challenges. And so it might mean that I just need to, if I don't have all the time, I can run less. And then, like I said, there are days that I give myself where I don't run at all, and that's important. Like I recently ran and walked 16.6 kilometers. It was a lot. I didn't come outside at the earliest that I was expecting, and started to run like at 8:15. It was a little bit harder than now. Definitely the sun was out and all of that. And I started at Regal Car. I went to, I believe, Tomcat gas station. Got some water. And I drank about 3/4 of the bottle of that. That was a 20-ounce bottle of water. And then I ran back to the Dollar General, and I walked some of this too. It was not all running in this that I'm talking about. And even though I had a goal of going to around 16.6 kilometers, I went to Dollar General at around the 15.2 mark, and I got some more water, and I drank almost all that bottle too. So I'm glad that I know where to get some water if I need it, but I still can get out there and run. And even though I did that like at 8, I started around 8:15, still went out in the morning. The overwhelming majority of my runs are in the morning. I like to say a morning run gets done. And less distractions in the morning. And there's a lot more likelihood I actually will run if I place it as a high priority in the day. At least that's what's worked for me. Some other people might find it better to work in the evening time, but for me, it's like morning run makes sense. It's worked. I've done hundreds of runs in the morning, and so they say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right, so I haven't checked my watch, but I've realized that I've probably almost done 3 kilometers. And I know where my starting point typically is to this building I'm about to come to. And that would typically get me to 2.59 kilometers. And then I started like 0.5 kilometers before that. So I got a buzz on my watch, and I believe that means I'm at the 3 kilometer mark. This says Grand Lake Prop Shop right there. So literally, I'm still on Sidewalk. Like I said, I challenge people to come on this on their bike, walk it, or run it. I'm going to create a segment, at least for runners, in Strava today, or at least that's my goal. And the segment will be called something like Sidewalk to Sailboat. And it'll start where I started, and then you can take that and it'll track your progress from that point, from Dollar General, the start of the Dollar General Sidewalk to the end of Sailboat Bridge. I have different segments with Strava. Technically, they're kind of interesting to just see like points in your run, how you do. And you can even use that to compete against yourself and stuff like that if you want. And it's just kind of interesting. I like looking at a lot of stats on Strava. I find the more I look at stuff like that and I see other people and what they're doing, the more I'm inclined to run myself. All right, right here is Northeast Tech. Oh man, you might not be able to see this sign, but it says, well, now it's saying social media training. I saw something that said podcast training. I think that's pretty cool. I was able to use their podcast studio for 2 recordings. I was gifted use of that, but you can actually use that if you want for your business. And I am working on a clip that I did of an interview I did with Nakoma Hutchinson, who is a storm chaser, lifelong resident of Jay, Oklahoma. And I'm looking forward to releasing that probably sometime on Thursday. And that video is sponsored by Strength and Dignity Bodywork. Now, this is more of the exciting thing that's happening, getting closer to Sailboat Bridge. So, just showing you different things here. And, you know, when I have a ways to go, probably like another 1 or 2 kilometers, but I know I'm getting closer to Sailboat. And that's like the privilege of the run, is to get there. And Sailboat Bridge, I mean, I know there have been a little bit of disputes in this group, but based on my research, you can do your own research. Sailboat Bridge is the second longest over the water bridge in Oklahoma. And we have that right here in Grove. It was a big project by the Oklahoma Department of Transportation. And it's a very safe place to walk, run, or ride the bike, in terms of like not having to worry about a car hitting you. Now, there's not a lot of people that I've seen on the bridge. You do have to keep that in mind. You know, if you want to go somewhere where there's a lot of more people, maybe not a lot, but more people. Haven't been there in a while, but I would recommend going by the track by the YMCA if you wanted to like do a run or something like that outside, or walk outside. I have run out here literally hundreds of times. I recognize I'm a man too, and things like that. Sometimes I don't have this with me today, but I have sometimes run with dog spray. Haven't had to use anything like that before, but I do sometimes run with that. So if I needed to use it, I would. Hopefully I will never have to use something like that, but I like to say I'm going to live. And the dog protector spray is also better for the dog, instead of having like a pepper spray or something like that. Okay, I think this is a funeral home or something like that. Yeah, it says Nicole's Stevens. All right, so that's where I am. Days Inn is right over there, and obviously not at Sailboat Bridge yet, but I'm going, because I'm gonna complete this, and I feel good. I mean, now I like to say this. I asked this question at the beginning of the live stream, but it is, what do runners do? It's been kind of like my brand in one sense, and that can be like an easy question for people to say. Of course, runners run, but then you ask yourself the question, what do runners do when it is, what do runners do when it rains? What do runners do when it's snowing? What do runners do when it's 40 degrees? What do runners do when it's 0 degrees? What do runners do when it's the summertime? What do runners do when it's winter? So, I mean, I believe the answer is they run. Because runners are people that run out of excuses. I remember hearing someone say, You can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. So holding on to excuses is an exchange for results. If you want results, then you focus on that. If you want excuses, you focus on that. But not able to have both of those at the same time. And so I like to think about I probably could get some better rain gear, but I mean, the $5 solution I have, I think, has served me pretty well. So I'm continuing going on Sailboat Bridge. You know, one thing I was saying one time, especially on a run, I was walking and I showed my live stream of the sun to illustrate a point about seeing opportunities, because I was saying, like, some people, they focus on the sun when they should be focused on the flags. Now these flags over here, they're not really blowing like they were when I showed that picture. Did that live stream. But it's like you can look at the heat or you can focus on the breeze. If you focus on the breeze, you might be more encouraged to run. And so, you know, those are the type of things I think about. And literally, I think I'm seeing almost the finish line for the Sidewalk, the Sailboat Challenge. Literally, on my 400th run, I thank God I've been able to talk this whole way, hopefully giving some inspiration to you, hopefully encourage you and inspired you to take advantage of this amazing resource we have here in Grove, this sidewalk. Some people might say it's not a lot of sidewalk, but like I said, I challenged them to take the Sidewalk to Sailboat Bridge, the Sidewalk to Sailboat Challenge. I'm going to make a segment. Some people say if it didn't happen on Strava, it didn't happen. So you can go record your run, walk, or bicycle from the beginning of Dollar General to the end of the sidewalk on Sailboat Bridge.